And we are live. Hey guys.
Hello everyone.
Who do we got here? Hi Tangi and Maria, Lady Blindwall. How's everyone doing today? On this beautiful Saturday. It's beautiful for us here.
Yeah.
It's okay here.
It looks like you got some sunshine going on there.
The most I've seen in a while, but it was raining and I was hoping it would keep raining. I do have to admit, I love the gloom here. It's just, it's romantic to me. I do love it. Sometimes I wish for sunshine though, like you know, I used to get, but.
I had a couple of songs just run through my head when you did that. You know, rainy days and Mondays always get me down, and I'm only happy when it rains.
November rain.
Yeah, November rain. There you go. There you go. So today we're going to be talking about our dreams, some of our experiences, and what we might believe or what we believe are possible things that are actually happening because of experiences that we're having in the dreamscape, right? And in our waking state. Yeah. So who wants to start it off?
Well, I kind of don't know where to start. We've got so many dreams, so many.
Yes.
Okay, well,
I think the first one that started was the dream that you had with the wormholes.
Yes.
Going through and the men in black. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. So just a little bit before that one, though, I did want to say about the like weird ritual dreams I was having. I know I probably mentioned it briefly before in our chats, but I kept telling Rachele they're very dark. I don't know who it is. I can't see them. I'm blinded, but I'm nude and I'm usually bound and being like cut. And like there's all kinds of weird like ritualistic things happening around me. But it's like I have blinders on. I can only see fragments of it. But during that time, like I felt icky in the waking world too. And I remember doing like a cleansing because I was like, something ain't right. You know, I just felt that ickiness. And moving from that, I started having that dream like you had mentioned with the men in black.
You know, can we stop just for 1 second?
Mm-hmm.
The ritual dreams, you had told me about that quite a while back. I think like last summer.
They happened from then, like up until just a couple months ago.
So my question is, these dreams that you had, were you on like a slab, like a round slab with a pentacle or some sort of
not a pentacle, but I was on altars at times, or there were like 2 stone pillars and my arms would be
out. Right
out. They were always out, like whatever they were doing to me, it's like I had to be like that. And sometimes we were laying on stone as well, I remember.
Because remember me telling you, this was around the same time that I had the dream about the activation dream where the lady had bit me on the cheek and said, "You're now activated." Right. Wow.
Yeah.
I had seen these 2 people, a husband and wife, that had moved out of the States. They were living, I believe, in Costa Rica. And they had started talking about how this was going around. A whole bunch of people were having these kind of dreams. And this was a couple of days after I had that dream. And they said that also people have been, another way that they're bringing people's energy down is also on the astral plane, grabbing a hold of them and doing ritualistic things to them, actually trying to like lower their vibrations and stuff.
I believe that to be the case. Yeah. I do. I truly do. You can sense it. You can feel it when you're there. What's interesting about that too, though, is I can remember on 2 different occasions, because those dreams lasted quite a bit and they were frequent, there for a while. But on 2 separate occasions, I actually remember my incubus coming in and helping me, like removing me. So that was interesting too. And yeah, I had my activation dream not like a couple weeks after you did, I believe. And then it went to, well, before the Men in Black, I had that one dream where I was in this room. It reminded me of like a Victorian mansion type of deal. And there was a mirror and then a couch and a table, like behind the couch, like one of those decorative ones. And I was walking behind this, and I remember I'm just, doing my thing in my dream. And then I sensed like a shift, and it was like right in front of the mirror over by the fireplace on the other side of this couch. And I just looked, and I couldn't see it, but I could sense it. And I was like, you don't belong here. And I immediately like threw it out of my dream. Like I could see it ripple, and I like threw my hand out and tossed it out of my dream. And then the next one was the Men in Black one. And I was running. What's interesting, I'm in Northern Ireland, but I remember going through a wormhole, and it like sucked me through really fast. It was almost like teleportation, but I could see the wormhole and acknowledge what was happening. But I went through it so fast and ended up like in a desert in America, like the Nevada desert. And I remember turning back and knowing that these men were chasing me, but I was kind of having fun with it. I thought, okay, I'm lucid dreaming, and the more I ran, the more the energy started to affect me to where like, cause I was jumping from like America over to like Italy. Then from there, I'd go to like Australia. It was crazy.
Like that movie Jumpers.
Right. I haven't seen that, but I can imagine that it would be something like that.
Okay.
And I was for a while looking back into the wormholes at them and laughing like, can't get me, And I remember just feeling exhilarated because like I was outrunning them. So I just thought, cool dream, like I'm lucid, let's do this. I got you. But but the dream shifted from an outside landscape and the wormholes, and I was thrown into one of my aunt's like old kitchens from like earlier years when she was alive. And she looks at me and she goes, Cortney, you need to wake up now. And I was like, hi, and she's like, you need to wake up now. And I'm like, why? And she's like, because those men, they're real. And if they get you in here, you're not going to come back. And I went, oh shit. And that's when like I seen like a burst, like the whole wall in her room, like just shattered. And it was like a burst, again, a ripple effect where I could feel they were coming, and I had woke up instantly from that. So, and then a bit after that, I had a dream with you, Rachele. I can remember, oh God, it was so vivid. I want to say I was dream walking in your dream, but I'm not 100% on this one. But it was like you couldn't see me, but I was walking with you, and it was in a woods, like a forest at night. And there were a bunch of pagans like celebrating some type of like ritual or something. They were just dancing like Native Americans, maybe. Mm-hmm. And I remember you were going to go like join the crowd, but we were walking down a dark path. And like you couldn't see me. I remember like going to try to talk to you, but then I realized, oh, okay, it's one of those dreams. And then I sensed again, similar to what I sensed in the one I told you in the like Victorian home. It was like just this big shift, but it was huge and in the sky, like in this dream. I knew it was coming, and I knew it wasn't good. And I felt like it was coming for you. And I remember just going, no, you cannot touch her. And like, I threw my arms forward, and I remember thinking like about ravens, like, I don't know why, but I like flocked a bunch of ravens with my hands out, and they like went after it. And it like, I don't know what it did, but in the dream, it made sense. Like it helped, it pushed it away.
What was this thing? Could you not see it? Was it like a darkness, like a shadow kind of thing?
I can't see it. It's completely hidden from me. I tried. you can feel it. Oh, you can feel it. It's intense and it's so heavy, so heavy. And it's like, you know, it's coming for you. You can feel that and you know, it's not good. But and you can feel the direction too. Like I can sense which direction it's at, but it's almost like it's cloaked.
Because I have had that kind of feeling when I have had my sleep paralysis. Like a feeling of dread, like something is right there. You can't see it, but you can feel it. You know it's there. It's oppressive.
Yeah.
Yes.
I knew that if it got
You're
to
muted,
you.
Sissy.
Oh, sorry.
No, she's muted.
Oh,
Whoops.
I forgot I muted that. Yeah. Just going back to what you were saying about the sleep paralysis. Sometimes that feeling of whatever that weight is on you, like pushing you, like almost like it's trying to pull you from the floor. The gravity is just so intense. I've had that feeling just walking into a room. So, and yeah, it's a feeling of dread. I was just pretty much just agreeing with you.
Well, you know what? That's kind of funny that you say that, sis, because I've only experienced this one time. And, you know, we've talked about music and frequency before.
Oh, yeah.
But there was one time when I was like 18 or 19, maybe not that old. And this was like in Litchfield, Michigan, and it was a party. But it was like that as soon as I walked in, they were playing like this country music that was just like, I mean, so I felt like, ooh, like I was being like pushed like from all sides. I mean, I literally had to go outside because I physically got sick because the music was like so consuming. And the people that were around me, I couldn't believe that they weren't feeling what I felt as soon as I walked in that house.
Yeah, I believe in that.
But it wasn't like John Denver music. It was like, my dog just died yesterday. I mean, it was just like really deep down, like hurtful, like sad music. You know what I mean? I was just like, oh, I can't take this. I was just like,
There's studies out there and theories, C theories, we'll say C theories, that suggest that frequency, even in music, can like manipulate the people listening to it. And I believe that. My son can listen to a Triple X song, which I love Triple X, you know, but also it can put you in like that lower mood. But then if I throw something on, like
instead of no warrior angers ever, it's no country music ever. Some of it I love, don't get me wrong. It's just this was like oppressive. This music was, oh my gosh.
Well, music brings out a feeling, an emotion, well, depending on how you relate to it. But I mean, like for myself, it brings out a feeling, you know, and some music makes you feel powerful. Some music makes you feel sad. And, you know, I can't say the why or the, you know, if they even know what they're doing, you know, because certain frequencies, but I could see that if it was affecting, you know, maybe one or two people in the room in a sad manner, or it was bringing back a memory that it affected them in a certain manner, that you didn't tap into that.
I don't know. I just felt it instantly. I walked in there and it was just like massive oppression. I felt it from every part of me. I had to go outside in order to even feel like I could breathe. And I literally vomited all over because I was just like sick. Wow. But as soon as I went outside, I felt refreshed. I didn't feel oppressed.
Yeah.
So definitely frequency, which kind of also we're talking about here today. Because dreaming is also like a brainwave frequency, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Slave to against all and worshippers by mightiest name of Jesus Christ. Yawashi God. I pray amen and send angels to wage attacks unlimited times permanently to you all. Well, thank you for your prayer. We appreciate it. But we don't necessarily believe like what you do, but I send angels. Okay. All right. Maria, can you get rid of this person for me, please? Because I'm in StreamYard, so pretty please. Well, all righty then.
Boy.
You know, I could definitely counteract that with I believe that anyone that is been manipulated or, you know, fallen into that trap, that they do not have a full understanding of the Bible or those times, and that's all they have studied is, you know, King James Version or whatever. They never took it any further.
Yeah.
So they are very misinformed, and I feel empathy, sympathetic.
Yes.
I'm like, all right, send your angels. I probably know half of them.
Yeah, I mean, it is sad. It is sad. But you know what? It is always so easy to assume because you think that you know where somebody's coming from. I mean, I grew up in the damn church. I went to church camp. I studied with the witnesses. I can even name every single book of the Bible in order really fast. So that doesn't mean that we don't know it. We just have moved beyond it. Okay.
And what that person did was an attack.
Yeah.
It wasn't very Christian-like because they just passed judgment. So come on.
I wanted to say, by the by, throwing curses is witchcraft, bro.
Yeah. It was just hypocritical.
And it was a restraining order on my blind foot. Yeah. I don't even know where we were at because they just kind of threw me off. Oh, yeah. I mean, seriously, about the different brainwaves. Cortney, today in our sisterhood chat, I mean, our private one that we do, which we do every morning, we talk about our dreams and all that.
Right.
Well, usually, and we're very talkative, very chatty. You had brought in a couple of videos for us to look at in regards to DMT.
Right.
Right. And I watched those and I was like amazed because, I mean, we always talk about the pituitary gland and that has to do with like our spiritual experiences, meditation and all that. And we know that our body creates it. But I mean, is that when we're in those states, is that the real reality? I'm starting to think it is.
Me too.
And that when we are in this waking state, like right now,
this is the dream.
This is us being controlled by frequency, what we see. So
perception, and we talked about it earlier too. Like, just, you know, I truly believe that our perception is 3D. So like when you're not, you know, when you're not being caged or held back with this physical self, and you are in your dream state affected by DMT or whatever, you know, then the perception is and becomes higher. Your vibration is higher, all of that, you know. So that's when you're able to see better.
They did a test on the guy in the video. Oh, sorry, Carla. Were you?
No, you're fine. I was just thinking, but you know, I kind of lost it. Never mind.
I'm sorry.
You're all right. It'll come back later.
I was saying he was doing breathing exercises. He had adapted, and we know when we go into.
I'm kidding.
She's just playing with you.
Oh,
she's just making faces.
I will get distracted. Now I lost. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, the
Okay.
breathing techniques.
Yeah. He was saying after 5 minutes of doing this, you get the euphoria. After 10 minutes of doing it, you start seeing shapes, different types of visions, really. And then after 15 minutes, it raises the vibration and activates so much activity in the brain. While he was doing this, they were testing his brain waves and it lit up in the gamma. Like, they also said that adrenaline, because I don't prefer this method, but I know it's been done in the past, in ancient times, where people would inflict pain for enlightenment. They thought they reached enlightenment. Well, could that be because in that video, when we're stressed, also our adrenaline hormones also release DMT. So if you that could be how some people can disassociate in traumatic events. It's a possibility, not saying it's absolutely what it is. Or they saw visions and thought they reached a higher state of consciousness due to that being released. And if we can achieve that in better ways, like breathing techniques, what's that mean for us?
Exactly.
Okay, so I'm going to probably take this in another direction, but you said that you had read that teenagers' hormones, during puberty and menopause and pregnancy and menstruation. So your DMT levels could be higher in those moments or in those times?
Your hormones can mess with it.
Right.
Faith asked me this morning about what I thought may cause a poltergeist, because she thought we had one in the house, or what she called a copycat ghost type thing. And I said, well, I think it's a signature or a energy that's left behind from a moment in time that was intense, and then say somebody else comes along and leaves another piece of that energy, and it just kind of starts forming this big, ball of energy that could either be bad or good, depending on what it is that's being collected. So if it's a collective of bad energy, it's going to have it's going to feel a little violent or whatever. And that makes sense, because she was going through puberty when she lived here, and I've obviously been going through menopause, hence all these nice little gray hairs and
yeah,
all that good stuff. But it makes sense if that's the case.
But isn't there also studies that talk about Kundalini also with women that are menopausal?
Mm-hmm.
And I've been feeling that, let me tell you.
Same.
The women in my family are early with it, and I'm in pre-menopausal, and I'm only 33. Am I 32 or 33? I don't remember. I'm one of them, but
I don't remember my dreams so much anymore. I've been working on it, and I stuck some amethyst by the bed. Oh, it's been probably about a month ago, and that's when I was dreaming. So then I took it out and put it in the car. I was taking it to work with me, and I've just kind of left it in there, and then I've stopped dreaming again. But amethyst, I know, is kind of like an intensifier of that, so I'm sure that helps. But
yes,
the DMT just wasn't working for me over the last couple of months until I did that. But I have to do that.
Recently too, I felt that I could sense another practitioner astraling. I was awake. I was on my bed and I felt them. I was sitting up and I felt them, and I looked directly at them, and I was like, yeah, you need to go.
See, I think with Faith, she is very sensitive, because I think that they're all over the place, especially if you think about the theory of different dimensions, right? It's energy, different frequencies. So if you are in an area and you are well, anywhere actually, and you're sensitive, you're going to be picking up on parts of those other dimensions that are right there, right with you.
Yes.
So I think that's part of it. I don't think it necessarily has to be a poltergeist.
Those, in my experience, I think are PK energies. Like you would describe the accumulating energy of like traumas or arguments, even, or things that just kind of accumulate. Yeah, but my mom and my grandmother were both done like by 38, like full blown all the way through. Like, yeah.
The women in our family have major issues with female issues. Yes.
Yeah.
Mine is all screwed up because I stopped having mine, oh my gosh, like 40 years old. And then I started getting it back. I didn't have it for like 8 years and then started getting it back. And now I haven't had it in months. And I've been feeling the major like flashes and all of that. I'm like checking, am I running a temperature? I've never run a temperature. I'm just like hot, you know?
Yeah, throughout the winter, oh my gosh, my hot flashes were so bad. The last couple of winters that I'd have to go outside in the snow to cool off. It was like there was a chimney right here, and
yeah.
Hi, Regina.
So have you also felt then, and I know you have, Cortney, and I have you felt like other stuff or other beings messing around with you down there?
like when I was younger, I did.
Oh,
Definitely.
see, I've been getting it recently.
Nothing. It's like all the time when I was younger. Probably up
And
until years ago.
serpent energy. Serpent energy also too, sis. You had talked about that. And so is Cortney.
Yeah, my incubus. Some experiences I had, I mentioned I felt like that serpentine, like something slithering on my waist or like my thighs. And I actually had a comment that mentioned like an incubi or succubi has to do or can trigger like a Kundalini awakening. And I thought that was interesting, but I didn't like read too much into that until recently. I came across some information and also find that to be true from what I've researched recently. And also like the twin flame thing and then like a few other things. But serpents, man, that's been in our dreams a lot too recently.
Yes.
Big time.
Just a few nights ago for me.
I
have to
dreamt
tell
of
you,
like an octopus being before, and then like a snake coming out of my back.
yeah, it was at the base of your spine where it was coming out of your back, right?
The
Right.
chakra.
I was incubating it. It was like a pocket, and it was pulsing, and I could see it. I was looking at it in the mirror, and it was down at the base of my back, and it was pulsating. It looked like I don't know, like a pus pocket almost. And it had I don't know, it was weird looking. I couldn't even describe it. It had black veins going up it, and it had a little hole in the middle of it, and then the snake just come flying out of it.
You know, my first husband, when my first son was born, freaked out because he had woke up from a dream that a serpent was crawling under his skin. Now, he's the one out of all of them that genuinely vibes with like reptilian and has dreams of being a reptilian. And he's like, I'm telling you, I'm a reptilian. Like, start. I'm like, okay, all right, I believe you. But yeah, last night also my scorpion lady, she had it was like a headdress, but made of like black serpent skin, and it like would move above her head. And when she would talk, it would like kind of whisper to her, like it would advise her. And the inner earth. So I should say, I guess, that a lot of the ritual dreams stopped when I had my first inner earth astral experience and met the Ka group, or what I believe to be like a fair elven type of inner earth race. It's just what they remind me of. I'm not sure if that's actually what they are. And recently I've come into some dark-haired ones too in the inner earth, and they wear like actual gemstones in their hair and have them so intricately done, even the men. And I remember thinking like, that's very feminine, but it's beautiful. Like, I loved it. And I was helping that team actually fight something. Can't remember what it was in that dream. Yeah.
Interesting to me, because do you remember when I told you a while back when I had read the book, The Four Agreements? A lot of times I will lay in bed and read out loud because I retain it better. And Sully loves it when I read. So he will lay down next to me and fall asleep. Well, I fell asleep on the book after I read it. And when I woke up, right at that instant, there was a woman there. And she was tall. She was all white. She was wearing, and we had said that we thought maybe she was a being that had maybe encouraged that book or something. But she had the beads in her hair, and she was tall, and she was like maybe like 7 or 8 feet tall. I mean, she was tall, and her skin.
So are these.
It was like creamy white. Like, but she did not have like a face like us. She did, but she didn't. It was more almost like rodent-like.
Yeah. Actually, that I could see that in the dark-haired ones.
She had a thing like this, and she had a white, like loose-fitting, like tunic.
That sounds
with a belt around it.
Yep, that sounds like close. Yes. Extremely close. They're all tall, but now this is the dark-haired beings. Somehow I think they're connected. I just don't know how. I only seen them the one time. But the dark-haired ones are tall, lanky kind of. The majority of them that I saw were. And like a creamy complexion with that like face. Now the ones with the white hair, they're so pale that they almost shimmer. Like they almost seem transparent, but they're not. And yeah.
Oops. Thanks for coming, sweetie. She had white hair. This female had white hair, but her skin was like very, very creamy. Very creamy.
They are all different. They are all different like sizes when I visit them. This lady specifically told me her name was Ka. And that like her tribe people, maybe, and like her tribe people was like her group, like her like faction type of deal. And I remember the first time I went there, it was just like, I was still playing with the idea of like inner earth beings. Like, I think this was last year when you were talking to me and kind of like showing me all this stuff. And I remember having the abduction dream, but then after that was when I had the first inner earth experience. And I remember like, I was so awed by their world. I did not want to leave. In fact, I was furious when I woke up, like absolutely pissed. But yeah, it was really interesting meeting them. And they've always been, I'm not afraid of them. You know, they don't seem to be threatening in any way. She did offer me a drink the first time. I remember refusing it. It was like a brownish color. And I did take it, though. I think the third time I seen them in their buildings, it's like chiseled, but honeycombed into the tunnel systems. Right.
Right. Yeah.
And tall pillar like things. And then there's like these balconies. And also very strange plants that light, kind of fluorescent. And then their crystals by their water, it seemed so much clearer, so much natural for some reason. But the crystals were like growing up from like the banks of where their rivers and stuff was. And there was a big waterfall, a giant bridge, like mountains all around. Like, it was awesome.
That makes sense, though, if you think about it, because how are crystals made?
Yeah.
They're made by like volcanoes and stuff like that, right? The heated stuff. So if those tunnels were actually created from the flow of lava,
oh yeah,
that it would exactly be correct.
they said the crystals store their memories of them and all their ancestors. And also they have crystals that power their like light and energy and stuff down there. So that was interesting. And then the night before my mom had passed, after our live, I had a dream. It was, I went to go see them again. I saw Ka, and she had offered me that drink again. I took it that time. She said I needed it. It was like, she wasn't trying to force me, but she was being adamant, like, you really have to take this. So I did. And I also took food from her, which seemed different. But when I bit into it, it's like it broke down into a liquid, almost tasting like water, but a little off. Can't really describe it because there's nothing that kind of relates to it that we eat or drink. And then she took her finger and she pressed it to my chest. Only when she put it in there, it went under my skin and like into my chest, but it didn't hurt. And it lit up this gold color, which is common because the first time I met her, she greeted me by touching her fingertips to mine. And it was like a glowing, like sparkly fluorescent light. And I just thought that was awesome. I'm like, how'd you do that? But when she did that, it lit up. And then this 3D like pyramid came out of my chest. And I got the phone call about my mother the next day. So I view that as they were trying to help my heart center. Like, you're going to need this extra support for what's coming. And then after that, just the other, what was it?
We have to take notes, guys.
It was last night. Sorry. Yeah, it was last night. I was trying to think if I had one in between last night and that one, but yeah, last night I go back there and the whole group, like the whole town, city area was in this giant courtyard. And it's almost like they're not showing me all of it, but each time I go, I get to see like a bit more. And it was this giant, beautiful courtyard. And there was this big tree. Oh, so beautiful. And they're all chanting and sitting there at the same time. Perfect tune, like perfect timing. They were all chanting. And I look up into the tree and there's this half woman scorpion thing. Gems out of it.
Scorpion thing. Oh, yes.
And I drew her this morning.
Can you show the picture? Do you have it right there with you?
One moment. I asked, the man to grab it for me. But yeah, I had to draw her because it was like that impactful. And I felt like it was a part of me somehow, like my subconscious, like you suggested, maybe like my higher self, how it manifested. And because she was half woman, half scorpion. And her headdress was serpent and it advised her. And she also had the scale balancing on the stinger. And I was like, wow. So yeah. Oh, that's the one I was going to say where I had the choice to stay with them. I did have one in between those two. The other night, this one kind of baffles me. Like, I still think about it daily. It just stuck with me. And the other night, I mean, it got pretty dark for me, not now, but like a week or two ago, I was in a dark spot and I went to sleep and I ended up in this big like council meeting room where I saw all of these beings that I've seen before in my dreams, the dark-haired ones, the light-haired ones, like all of them were just kind of gathered in this big room. And they brought up this like transparent screen and they were like, you can stay with us if you want to, or you can go back. And I look at this screen they showed me and I saw like Rachele and you and like all of us laughing. And I went, oh, wow, and it was like, I wasn't me. I was an observer outside of it. I could see everybody's like how it affected or influenced everything. And I was like, wow, I had no idea that sometimes I make them smile and they genuinely feel happy. I didn't know that. Like, I was like, and then I seen my children like being born again, but from an outside perspective, just that happiness. And I was like, wow. And then I saw Chris and I, and like some intimate moments we had out in nature and smiling and just laughing. And I looked at them and I said, I can't leave them. I can't, I have to go back. I can't leave them. And they like celebrated that, like that was a great choice. And then they were like, well, you know, we're going to brief you. It was like they gave me a big talking to, like some sort of briefing. But they said, you're probably not going to remember this, but your higher self will, and you'll know what to do with it when the time comes.
Wow. Now, when you told me about that dream, I told you that I had read quite a few books on Sylvia Browne back in the day. And she talks about, you've heard that expression when people are dying, that, or right before they die, that the world passes before they see everything. You know, their whole life passes before their eyes. She said that that actually came from on the other side, right after you go through the tunnel and you go through, this is when you pass away. And when you go on to the other side, first thing is the tunnel. You come out, all of the past loved ones, all your past animals, everybody that's over there, they greet you. Then you go into orientation. If it was like a tragic way that you came over and you need healing, you go into orientation for a bit, which is, I believe, like healing pods or something like that. And then they talk you back into this, because there's like a period of time where it takes for your memory, your like universal memory, to come back. But then after that, you go into the Hall of Records, which where all the Akashic records are kept. And you go in front of your council of people. And there is a screen there that talks about it, showing all of your life. And they're not judging you.
No,
Nobody
I felt
judging anybody.
I felt compassion, like.
Right. She said it's more like you review like your life and say, oh, I could have done that better. I wish I would have done this better, but I'm glad that I did that. And oh, now I know why this had to happen in my life, yada, 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 yada. And then you sit down and you talk about, okay, what are we going to do next time? How can we like fix this kind of thing? Uh-oh. So I find that extremely interesting that you would have a dream like that. And that just like pretty much talks about what she talks about in her books.
Yeah, it was like they were showing me the things, the positive things that that I was not seeing in that moment. I mean, I seen it, but sometimes when things are dark and you're so clouded, you get caught up in that and you don't really see the silver lining, and you rack your head so much in such a state that you forget about those things. And I am so grateful for that experience, because it truly showed me like what matters in my life right now. Since my mom,
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
I like what Lady Blindwolf is saying here. She says Native Americans believe that animals decide whether or not you cross that bridge to your loved ones and previous pets. And makes you wonder if that is where the Rainbow Bridge comes from. We talked about that, about the Rainbow Bridge.
Yes, the Norse believed that, because we've all heard, did you guys grow up hearing that Bible story that the rainbow is God's promise not to flood the earth again?
Yes.
Because that's what I heard growing up. And then I do some research and stuff, and it's believed that the rainbows were like bridges for the gods or ETs to like go between worlds or realms. So that makes sense to me. I definitely believe it's a bridge. I do. And it could be for that too, but I definitely believe. And think about it, our chakras are the exact same colors that allow us access to these other worlds. So,
well, I want to touch on a couple of things here. I'm sorry, Sissy, go ahead.
No, it's fine. Go ahead. I'm just listening.
Sorry, I talk too much.
On April 13th, and see, I keep actual detailed dream log. this is my new one from this year. But on April 13th, I told you guys about this. I had a dream that I went into like a metaphysical store with my father. My father took me into this metaphysical store, and there were tomes. There was all kinds of stuff in there, but there was like these tomes. And these tomes were just beautiful with etching, and they were old and antique and all different kinds of colors. There was purple and black and brown, and they were all up on the bookcase. And I started to pull them out and looking, but they were like $2,000 a piece. So I was like, oh, okay, I can't do that. So I see these magazines, and they say Mithras on them. There was 2 of them. They were like, you know, like the old Reader's Digest, like that big. And I pulled them out, and they were like $9.99 each. I'm like, okay, I can afford that. And what is this Mithras stuff? Because I had never heard of Mithras before. So the next part of the dream, we are in like a living room, just a regular living room of a house. And there's like 6 of us sitting around on just regular chairs and couch and stuff like that. And I'm sitting next to my dad in this dream. And he's not my real dad, not from this life. But I knew he was my dad in this particular world, right?
Right.
And we're sitting around in a circle, and above our head, that's connecting every single one of us, is this blue light, like a halo. But it looked like a tube, like if you could think of like the lightsaber, right? But it was a big circle that was connecting all of us. And then the guy that was conducting this meditation that we were getting ready to do, he goes, okay, think of something that angers you. And I'm looking over, I'm actually seeing it from this side, and I'm sitting here and my dad is sitting here. And all of a sudden I see lightning coming out of my dad's head, and then we are all descending. Well, the very next day I had a dream and that was Mithras. So just to go a little bit beyond that, I started researching Mithras, and Mithras was actually a real god. Paganism. He was like a sun god in paganism, right? And then he was kind of like phased out, just like pagans and druids and stuff like that was phased out for Christianity. Right. So that was kind of surprising. And there's more to that, but I want to get to the next day. I had a dream the very next day that, and there's correlations with Mithras and Jesus Christ. So my husband in my dream seemed like he was in pain, but he didn't want me to know. So I just kept prying. I'm like one of those, no, you got to tell me. You got to tell me what's wrong. And he showed me he had like toothpicks stuck under his skin in a couple of different places. He physically could not take them out himself. He was like incapable of taking them out. So I removed them. Well, I'm like, who did this to you? You know, I'm like warrior mode. I'm going to go kick some ass, right? So the next part of my dream, I am at in an alley, and this lady is the lady that did it, and she's wearing like a white lab coat, and there's another guy that's with her, and he's like her bodyguard kind of thing, and they're in this alleyway, and they're approaching people almost like she's a preacher on the street kind of thing, and she approaches me, and she grabs a hold of my underarm really, really, I mean, like strong to where it was almost painful. Real strong grip. And she goes, is Jesus Christ with you? And I go, of course, because I do. I mean, Jesus Christ is an ascended master. And
right.
I definitely believe in Jesus. And he's always been a part of my life. And I go, of course. She goes, no, like in a judgmental way. She goes, I know who's with you. And it was like 3 days later that my husband, the second part of that, because it was a 2-part dream. Because I woke up, went to the bathroom, and then resumed the dream when I went back. And I was actually in my house upstairs in our dining room, and I see the lady coming out of my office, and then the guy coming from the other side of me, and they were getting ready to put the toothpicks into me. And my family was sitting around, and my husband was right at the slider door. And I go, I am uncomfortable with this situation. And I looked at my husband, and it's almost like he was powerless. He could not move. He could not do anything. Almost like they had a grip of him and a grip of his mind. Right at that moment, I became self-aware. I knew I was dreaming, because I know that if something like that was really happening, my husband would give up his life in order to protect me. You know, I know that with every ounce of me. That's when I became lucid, and I woke myself up. But the woman was wearing a white coat, right? Like a lab coat. 3 days later, my husband was diagnosed with COVID.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Wow.
So is stuff happening on the astral plane that we're not aware of? Because one of the things that I've also talked to you guys about is the fact of, I watched this report of this guy that was running like tests with water, and he put stuff into the water, put it into a like incubation, like metal thing, closed the doors. And then he was running some sort of like intentions kind of thing, where he was using some other water, and it had been tested before that. So he took, after putting all of his intentions into it, grabbed the other ones out of it, and it all had the same thing in it. So what is happening in the world? Could it be that people are actually picking up this sickness by not even coming in contact with each other?
I do have this idea from my own dream work experiences. I've told people in some of my older videos that you can manifest almost instantly, like in the astral plane, like if you're lucid and you can control that. Also, the astral plane is like sped up on a different like timeline. So what we manifest there, or this, if you talk to spirits like on that plane, they can tell you like about the future, because it's just a different time. But you can manifest on the astral plane and then later see that manifest in your reality as well. And I know a lot of practitioners do that. So if you got us, regular citizens that can dream walk, that can manifest, that can do all these things, even changing our frequencies, I'm willing to bet that that's damn sure a possibility, especially from all of our dreams where we've had interference and we know like that was so real. Like there's no way of mistaking things like that. And your dreams especially, they blow my mind a lot.
I think they blow Rachelle's too.
Yeah, I do. Why do you think I write them down? I write them down with dates so that I can go back and check everything.
Yeah, I didn't even know who Mithras was, but I went to go get on my game like that morning as you're telling us. And in the game, I find a freaking temple of Mithras, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, in case anyone's curious.
Later that day, I told you guys, later that day, I watched a video on the channel Esoterica, which is excellent. I highly recommend it, you guys. This guy is friggin' excellent. And it was about Mithras. And it goes deeper than that. I've had other dreams about like being at the temple of, not being at the temple of Dandara, but having like seeing like a snake coming up out of a lotus. And the thing that they had talked about in the Mithras video was that the daughter of Mithras, which I was in my dream, was the only person that had the information about this particular lotus that grew on the side of or this particular flower that grew on the side of a mountain. That was the only ingredients that they were not for sure of in these old texts, that had to do with some sort of oil for like ascension and kundalini waking and stuff like that. And I had just had that dream, which led me to the Dandara temple, and down below in that chamber, it shows the snake coming out of the blue lotus flower. So I'm wondering, was it the blue lotus flower?
I have a theory. I think that, dreams are extremely important because they are a communication between your higher self and you. So, if you're meditating or if you're still trying to figure stuff out, you are going to get a lot of uploads. And I believe, because if I look back at the symbolic dreams that I've had over the years, and I remember the ones that I didn't even write down, but I can still relive them in my mind. And then they make total sense. So it's like, and I've talked to you ladies about some of them that I've had recently, and I look back now and I'm like, oh my gosh, now I understand exactly what they mean. So, and some of the stuff I've just been thinking, you know, like the dream that I told you I had about the vampires in the trees with the blue diamond-like eyes. Like, if I look back now, it's like, okay, that was me denying myself, running from myself. And I didn't realize that till I started listening to the Sophia Code. It was like, oh, wow, everything kind of fell into place there. Then I drew a picture of that little boy, you know, awake time. And I thought maybe it might have had to do with something else going on. But then I had a dream after that of that little boy sitting in a cage with the door open, and the conditions that he was in was like, I don't know, like he was a slave or something. But he had the blue diamond-like eyes. And I realized after having the dream that that was myself. That was another being. That was myself that, you know, is existing now at this time. I could go on. It's like, ever since I made up my mind, and in this 3 density time that is now that I'm experiencing, the dreams have slowed down, I think, is really what's going on. It's like, I understand there's something coming.
Mm-hmm.
And that is gathering anybody that is ready and willing to take this venture on with me. Obviously, gathering star seeds, light workers, for the ascension of Mother Earth, and coming together in love and light, and trying, you know, helping the rest of these people go through it together, guiding them, all working together. So it's like, I have no doubt in my mind that is my mission. I'm not saying that I don't have things to do at home, because there's things I have to accomplish, you know, so that I can go off and get out of this mundane factory bull caca. But so I'm thinking that, again, your dreams are a direct connection to your higher self. Your
They could be memories too. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I have no doubt. But you were the one that pointed out to me that not always is a memory of past life.
Right. I don't think they are past lives. They're simultaneous.
Exactly.
Right.
Right. So that little boy, I believe, you know, it's like, just one day I started drawing, and all of a sudden this face appears, and I'm like, man. And then it looked like that one lady's grandson, because it had. But then when I dreamt, I knew exactly what it was.
You know, something just dawned on me too as you guys were talking. When I was writing that book and channeling things, if there's a lot of interference in their dreams in that book, and also the ending, they did a certain ritual with sex, and he had to cut a serpent, like it was and it was messaged to me, and I'm wondering if that didn't have to do with like what we've been experiencing in our dreams a bit, with what we're talking about.
I think we have kind of gotten off track a little bit. I mean,
yeah.
You guys, seriously, you have no idea. We have so many dreams all the time, sometimes several dreams in a night.
Yeah.
And it's what I find interesting is that how they correlate with each other, and somebody will see something with something new that's brought in. It's definitely like we are activating things in each other. Yes, we are getting messages. Mm-hmm. But one of the main things that we really wanted to discuss today was the fact of, yes, dream states are we also being under attack in our dream states? And it's affecting our waking state when we are here. Because how often, unless you actually, I'm not even kidding you guys, this book, when I go through, this is my old dream journal. When I go back and look, and just from like a year ago, when I go back and read these, I don't even remember these. And I read them and I'm like, holy shit. I can't believe I forgot about that, but we do. Why are we forgetting? And then it brings me to the 7 unnatural Jehovian seals. That map that we showed you guys early on in the sisterhood chat a couple months ago. Well, that's what those things are supposed to be doing. According to this story, after Atlantis fell, the Anunnaki or the powers that be, whoever it was, put these different things on the earth. They're like seals that are supposed to help keep your chakras not lined up, not balanced, so that we don't remember when we are in this 3D dimension. And when we are in our dream state, is that the true reality?
I believe so. So do I. Definitely.
Yes. It's like our universal memory, universal experiences in that state.
Yeah. And what's interesting and more validating is it's very rare for us not to have a connection together as well when we're dreaming. So that tells me that's something. Also, the way it's like a light switch. This is not me. I'm usually sharp. I'm usually on top of things. I can wake up and have in my head as I'm feeling myself re-enter my body. And I'm thinking, all right, remember this, and that. As soon as I open my eyes, like a light switch before I can even sit up and grab my phone to type it. Or I'll be trying to talk about it and like recall the memories. And then it's like, nope.
I mean, sometimes instantly I wake up and I can't remember it because I will immediately go to my phone and start recording it because I know how quickly sometimes we forget.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these I will not even put in until like a couple of days later. If I'm being lazy, I'll record it so that I have it for later so that I remember. And I mean, it's just, why is that? Why are we forgetting? Why are we having conversations and all of a sudden, what was I talking about? And it's happening more and more and more frequently.
Horribly, yes.
So
I'm also losing time.
Astral plane. I think we are under attack in the astral plane.
Yeah, me too.
Well, it makes sense if you believe in starseed and being contacted by aliens, if you believe that they can contact you that way on the astral plane, and we have benevolent and we have malevolent, then if they are not working with us and maybe working for an entity, say like a shadow government.
That's what I was going to say. Not everything is alien either.
Right.
I think that there are powers that be that are earthlings that have certain technologies that are messing with.
Technology, the ancient knowledge that we have been sitting on since before the time of Christ. That ancient technology that was taught, to the very first people on earth that caused the angels to fall. Right. That secret technology or ancient knowledge is exactly what they probably do know how to use.
Oh yeah. Chris told me, he's like, don't get sidetracked because best believe they got their eye, like he's uncanny with his visions, but he's seen it and he told me, he's like, yeah, there's interference there. They're trying to like scatter your minds pretty much. Mm-hmm. They're trying to make you confused and I'm like, oh yeah, we all feel that.
Yeah, I was blown away just. Oh, go ahead, Sissy.
I was going to respond. always have been a avid dreamer my whole life. I mean, my sister and I, both of us, we would sit down the next morning when we were little girls, and those are the discussions that we would have. But I mean, I remember dreams from over 20 years ago, but it seems like lately, in the last year, well, even last year when it started with the, and I don't like saying the C word, the bad C word. But when that really started and was blown up, I wasn't dreaming. I wasn't remembering any of my dreams. I mean, I know I was dreaming, but I wasn't remembering for months. That is really not me.
Yeah, I remember.
That's true.
You called me about that because I told you the same thing was happening to me. And I think a couple other ladies were having that issue too, because it's especially weird for people like, you guys and I who dream like loose our whole life so vividly, so intimately. Hello, lady. Yes. Thank you for coming.
So I cannot urge people enough. Have your phones by you, record it. That way, if you have a recording of it, you don't necessarily have to go and write it down that moment. I mean, you should hear some of the recordings. It's like, because my voice is not even, but that's how I remember, because I go back and listen. But I will go back and read some of these things and be like, oh my gosh, I forgot about that. And then I look at what happened in the world around that time, and it like correlates. We are getting messages. We just got to remember that we're getting messages and start talking to each other and pulling them all together.
Yes,
let them control us.
Exactly. And no matter if it's in a dream, it could be meditation. It could just be in download when you're, in that state of mind, and, or a vision. I mean, I've had visions before that are just, wow, where did that come from? I'm awake. Really?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing that has been done that is a travesty, in my opinion, is making people second guess the things that come to them, making them, oh, you just have a wild imagination. That's not real. That's an imaginary friend. Yeah. Or you have some sort of disease that's making you see these things. You here, take this medication. I'm not a healthcare professional. I'm sure that there are. I mean, my father suffered from paranoid schizophrenia, but I also think that there was underlying things there also,
right?
With that, but
why?
I'm just saying, don't discount the things that are happening to you.
Yeah, I won't.
Yeah.
Even with my children, I don't tell them. I always try to listen to all their experiences and validate it for them like we do each other. Because I feel like that kind of beats us back into that energy of thinking, okay, well, there's either something wrong with me or it is my imagination. Let's be logical. Type
and
of
then
feeling.
You block it out.
Right, right.
Do that. Yeah. Faith did that for a couple years because of her fear, the things she was seeing, she couldn't comprehend.
My whole theory on it all is that we know last year, especially in the overall big picture, we know the return of the goddess thing, and apparently 2020 and 2021 is part of that as well. One of the gates anyway. And then we had this awakening, like this mass awakening, and we have like things going on with the earth, things going on everywhere in the sky. All hell's broke loose. And I think that's kind of when it started, because they realized the potential of what we're naturally becoming, but they want to suppress us from that. But I think you're right. Maybe like documenting them through like weekly, then get together at the end of the week, look what's going on in the world and how our dreams intermix like that web.
I really,
what we need to do, I'm sorry, just really quick before I forget, because I do think this is extremely important. And there's nothing more that has shown me since our little sisterhood chat that we have when we start talking and how we correlate with each other. So I'm going to start a post in Amethyst Ascension in the group that's for like dreams.
Okay.
like weekly dreams. Maybe I'll start a weekly one. So you guys,
That's
if
excellent.
you guys are having some crazy dreams or what have you, put it in the group. You can do live videos, whatever. You can do voice, whatever. I don't care. Or you can write it all down however you want to. But let's keep track of it, because we might all be pieces of that puzzle that
Yeah.
will connect things for each other.
I
Like what
love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Me too. Yeah, because I think I probably have a lot of people that probably would agree that the Earth is going through an ascension, and we don't know how long that's going to take, or if there's going to actually, if we're going to see any natural disasters, because like an ascension is going to be like a rebirth, and maybe signs to look for. Maybe it could come out in a dream, or again, a great meditation could give you a good vision.
See, I have a theory about that too, though. I don't think that it's going to be so abrupt for everybody. I think that if you are vibrating at a certain frequency, you are just going to step into that next frequency. I don't think that, let me show you something. I got this a couple of years ago. I showed you guys earlier today in the, in our private group. But this was something that I seen by Drunvalo Melchizedek. He does have a channel. But these are the different wavelengths, or the different like octaves when you're looking at like dimensions and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a total of like 144 different dimensions. We are in the third dimension. So as we shift, which is a frequency, some people, maybe they might see those travesties and flood, whatever, who knows, if they stay in that frequency. You see what I mean? In that reality. And when you shift into a new reality, then those people are not necessarily going to be experiencing those. It's the same kind of thing as like multiple verse or
multiverse, yeah.
Right. Or string theory kind of stuff.
Right.
So
I definitely believe that. You've been losing time as well lately. That's been a weird thing for me too.
yes.
Yeah, probably part of.
Yeah.
Lady Blind Wolf says about, yeah, I actually have seen a lot of religious organizations saying it's the end times and panicking. And
well, there's a faction that are deliberately trying to bring about what the Bible calls like an apocalyptic type thing,
I do want to mention one thing. One of the dreams that I had on the 23rd or 24th.
Oh yeah.
Which I've had several. I've even been in a cave with a whole bunch of snakes, and I think that was like the goddess energy with healing with my hubby, who's feeling so much better, by the way. But I'm tired of sleeping on the couch. But anyway, the dream that I had, all I remember was it said it begins in 12 days,
right,
which would be May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. So I don't know the history behind Cinco de Mayo. Does anybody, because that has to do with like Santa Morta, doesn't it?
The Day of the Dead? The Day of the Dead. It might be. The Day of the Dead, Dia de los Muertos, is a multi-day festival held at the end of October. Okay, so no, it wouldn't be the same day. I didn't think it was, but I wanted to make sure. But
May 5th, there's something significant about May 5th.
Battles. Yeah, Cinco de Mayo, Spanish, 5th of May, also called anniversary of the Battle of Puebla, if I didn't butcher that. Holiday celebrated in parts of Mexico and the United States in honor of military victory in 1862 over French forces of Napoleon III.
Oh, so it's a military day, a victorious day. So let's see if anything happens on May 5th. Because that's what it said. It begins whatever. It was a voice in my dream. That's all I remember. It begins in 12 days. And I counted, and the 12th day was May 5th. So
I'm going to be looking. I've memorized that since you told me. I've been like, May 5th, the 5th, 5, 5. Remember.
I need to do a chart and see what's going on in the sky.
Oh my goodness. Ooh. Okay.
What?
Yeah. 5s always come up in my tarot readings. I noticed it's a significant number.
It is.
It would be 555.
Mm-hmm.
It would be 555.
And that I've been getting every single day.
Same.
Oh my gosh. And that is a big one.
Mm-hmm.
It's like represents wholeness of creation, divinity. Something really big is going to change or shift. It also has to do with like divinity, abundance, like vibration, but big changes, like huge. It's like almost like a fate type of like, or destiny, like change or.
Yeah, because it's not just May 5th. It's 2021. You add up 2021 and it's 5.
Right.
I just got onto that, guys. Thanks.
Something's coming. I knew. I told you. The night that I slept with the Amethyst, that when I woke up in the middle of the night, and it didn't scare me, but there was this little tiny lady with a big head, and she had flaming red hair, and she was levitating above me, and it looked like she was writing something down. And then there was a very tall being behind her, and all I seen was this shadow type thing. But he was like, his head touched the ceiling, but he was like a stick figure. It just looked like a tall stick figure behind her. And I was just like, okay, whatever. And then I rolled over and went back to sleep. But, I had some pretty significant dreams that night. And then there's been a lot of activity around this area, UFOs, and there's been a lot of that going on all over the world. And then I told you somebody from the CIA lives next to me.
I mean, you might be right, sis. You might be. They're watching you.
Track this crazy lady.
One last thing I want to say before we wrap this up, you guys. There has been talk about an alien invasion, right? That an alien invasion is coming. I will tell you that I heard about this. Do you remember me talking to you about this, sis? Like 7 years ago. It was when we lived at our last place, a long time ago. And I had heard it from a lady who was the assistant to Werner von Braun. And that one of the things, or Werner von Braun, whatever his name is, he was the guy that was a German scientist who came to work on the Manhattan Project and stuff like that after World War II. And he had said that was part of the plan, that they were going to say an alien invasion, but it's not real. That's not real. Don't fall for it.
Yeah, I've heard about that that theory, but yeah, and then Chris also had a vision about that. He said they're going to fake one with their alliances, and he said, do not get distracted. He said, you and your group stay focused, and you guys just keep on keeping on, raising that frequency, that vibration up, because the world's going to need it. whether you're light, dark, you can, and like I said, you can be on darker paths and still be a light worker and doing, it's the heart.
Yeah. There has been quite a bit of sightings in the sky as of lately. But how do we know that that's actually alien all of a sudden, and all of this disclosure that's supposed to be happening with the Pentagon in June, right? Is it June?
Yeah, they just disclosed a real UFO video taken by the military and said that it is real. We do know a lot more, but we'll brief the public by June 1st.
Right.
I'm like, yeah.
And we've been hearing about this for quite some time. Baby, can you put your mask on?
Well, just about almost every conspiracy theory that I knew like back 10 years ago has come true, like by now.
Exactly.
And I find that, hysterical at everyone that called people like us, a little crazy, because I'm like, yeah, well, guess what? You are being watched on your phone. Guess what? It's like...
What is the thing you told me you would walk by your computer and go,
all the time. I still do. I even make faces, or if I'm sitting on the toilet too, or in the bed. I've mooned it just in case. I'm like, yeah, you.
I mean, if you can't beat them, just might as well join them, right? Yeah.
Well, as somebody who's been visited more than once and has astral traveled on accident, literally, I don't remember it. I think all that has to do with probably a starseed family from a past life. Obviously, I think it's alien or ET, not of this earth, but yet, or not of this third density that we live in. I don't think that it's all bad. And with that being a possibility, you know what I'm saying, that they can contact us in that way, be a part of a contact. I couldn't give you a percentage of the world's population, but I know that we're not alone in experiences like that, that something that was, like an invasion would have to be manufactured.
Yes. If they wanted to wipe us out, they could have done it a long time.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Come on.
That's how I feel about it. There's even ancient aliens or whatever, when they're talking about the ancient history, you know what show I'm talking about. I think it's called Ancient Aliens.
Right.
It's been happening for over 2,000 years and it's documented. Yeah.
Much longer than that. Yes.
There went that switch.
See, that's why you guys, sometimes you'll see us, we're like going like this, like, yeah, like we want to say it because
it's because of that damn switch. Oh, I was gonna say, the ones that have been reaching out, though, I feel like it's picked up on that in the messages, and all of this is accelerating, I think, for us. And a lot of the people watching are probably getting things too, because I feel like the real ones that actually want us to persevere will know when it's them. We will just know, because they've already established some sort of probably connection or message to where I think we'll be able to distinguish it, is what I'm trying to say, for those of us who have been aware.
Well, I had watched somebody say, listen, if you really, really think that, first of all, if they wanted to do something, obviously we've had these sightings for a long time. So they are more advanced than we are. Okay. So, but it was just 4 years ago, or 3.5 years ago, 4 years ago, that the announcement of the Space Force was announced, right? So was that also planned, and all these things were already still created, which I truly believe. So it's almost more acceptable that we would start having all these things happen, right?
Right.
And all this stuff has been talked about for I mean, just even in modern times, the last 50 years, you know. So don't believe it, guys. Don't believe it. That's what I have to say. Just, yeah. Just have faith, you know, and write the crap down. Write it down.
I'm going to learn how to or take a couple courses on hypnosis and stuff and try the past life regression thing. And I don't know, check it out, because I believe that our higher consciousness is keeping track of all this, and it's been keeping track of it for decades, just like, you know, I'm really into Dolores Cannon, and oh my gosh, she had, you know, a lot of experience, and that's where all those books come from. They resonate with me. It resonates so much. And I believe in the alien starseed hybrids, you know, like, you know, you've got your star seeds that were obviously their past life regression took them back before Earth existed, or before there was life on Earth. And so they helped seed Earth. And then you have the hybrid star seeds where their parents might have alien DNA, or they were, you know, there was some alien DNA that was mixed in there when they were in the womb, you know, like alien abduction. Okay, so those people have maybe more telepathic type abilities, or they find it easier to manifest things. They're psychic. And then I'm finding out they're crystal children. Yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of new discoveries of groups of people that we need to get in contact with, come together, and yeah. So what you're doing with the dreams and all that, I think that's important, very important.
Well, we should probably wrap this up. It's been almost an hour and a half, ladies. I mean, we could go on forever. We do.
We could.
You have no idea. We're at it for like hours at a day going, oh, you're not going to believe what I just found. But anyways.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for joining me. And thank you everyone for joining us. And I am going to be putting a link or putting a post in the Amethyst Ascension group. Start putting your dreams in there. I'll start sharing some of my dreams, ladies. If you'll share some of your dreams, maybe we can all kind of connect some dots a little bit, like bigger picture dots. So,
I love that. I mean, unity. Yeah, I love that. Figure this out together.
Yes. So thank you, everyone. We love you. Have a wonderful rest of your Saturday, and we'll talk to you soon.